Welcome to Ghoulish Gab, always spooky, always under 7 minutes. We're just suggesting some 80s horror today.
Yeah.
No underlying theme below that. Why don't you start us off with something that you love from the 80s?
So I was trying to think of movies I don't remember suggesting before. So a lot of these are ones that I think that are kind of overlooked a little bit. 1983's Cujo.
Ooh.
I wouldn't call it a hidden gem by any means, but I think a lot of people just write it off as this goofy horror movie about a scary dog. But part of the fear of it is how realistic it is. This lovable Saint Bernard named Cujo gets bit by a bat with rabies, and all of a sudden Cujo has rabies. And then this mom and her son get trapped in their tiny little car by this rabid Saint Bernard who will not die. The dog is basically as big as the car, and that's not an exaggeration. Right. Like, it's true. And
it's like Jaws, but a dog.
Jaws, but a dog. And it was freaky. As a kid, I was genuinely scared of dogs for a little while after watching that, especially big dogs. And it's something that is an exaggeration, but could actually happen, which I think makes it scarier. Also, I learned a new little bit of trivia while looking this up. Apparently, the dogs that they got to play Cujo, they regularly had to tape their tails down because the dogs were having so much fun acting that they were wagging their tails. So they had to tape the tails down to make it more menacing.
Oh,
so
gosh.
When you watch the movie, which you should if you haven't seen it, I think it's good. Think of that.
There was a bat down here one time. It was like this big, and all I could think about was that I was going to get rabies. It was sitting right up here. That's a whole story. Life Force, 1985. It's from Cannon Films. If you know about them from the 80s, they were just popping out some wild shit. They didn't give a fuck. They were just making movies, putting them out, a bunch of wild stuff. But yeah, Life Force from 1985. It was based on a novel or a book called Space Vampires, which was unhinged as well. But the movie is pretty wild. Patrick Stewart is in it.
Oh.
That's where the real talent and the budget probably went. But it is a good-looking movie for 85, actually. I think this is before Cannon got really cheap with their films. But then there's Matilda May, who people only know from that movie, but you don't forget her when you're a teenager or a younger person watching that movie in the 80s or 90s or whenever you see it. And basically, vampires come from space, and I think it's London, and they just start raining chaos, and it's completely unhinged. If you like sci-fi horror and you need something that's wild from the 80s, check that one out for sure.
Speaking of things that invade from space, I'm going to talk about 1988's Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Must see.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones that we all have talked about so much that we haven't really talked about it. But basically, these teenagers see a comet land in their backyard, and all of a sudden, there's these aliens that look like clowns roaming around causing chaos in the town. The teens try to tell the police about it. They're like, fuck you. There's no way that happened. And then they all paid the price for not listening, and a bunch of people died. And
They died in funny ways, though.
They died in funny ways. And the first, this was one of those movies that I watched before I got super into horror or B-horror, especially. So I had to watch it 3 times before I fully appreciated it. But the cotton candy sacks, the guns, the fact that these killer clowns are actually, when you look at the costumes, fucking terrifying. But it's all still funny, but also scary. I think it's worth a watch. If you've skipped over it because you're like, oh no, that just looks too bad, it's not. Watch it.
They reused the clown costumes for as trolls in the Ernest Halloween movie. So if you watch both of those, you can kind of see how they repainted them. Also, remember when all sci-fi movies, everything just came from a comet? Like, that's the only way. They were just, a fucking comet would fall from space. That's the only way they could deliver things. Other than a spaceship, That's just how it used to be. Let's go. Student Bodies, 1981. If you like horror comedies, this, I would dare say, is like the original horror comedy. Not only that, but it's also like a kind of the first parody type movie. This is pretty much Scary Movie before Scary Movie, except they weren't targeting anything specific, but even by 81 they picked up on every trope that horror had and was able to successfully make fun of it. The humor is also just ridiculous and stupid, which I love, but it still holds up, which is also great. So, I mean, it's just a basic serial killer at a school type thing, but, you know, they rip into anything that's ever happened in horror up to 1980. And if you haven't seen it, I absolutely check it out, especially if you like stupidly funny movies.
1986's April Fool's Day.
Big fan.
Big fan. It's just really good fun. It's a little bit lesser known, I feel like. These group of college kids go out to their friend Muffy's family's secluded island getaway, and it turns out Muffy is a huge fan of pranks. And she set up all these pranks, like harmless ones, throughout the house. But all of a sudden, the harmless pranks are not so harmless, and people start dying. And it turns out Muffy has an evil twin named Buffy, and everybody's dying, and Buffy's evil. Or are they all dead? It's an April Fool's Day. You don't know where things are going.
There's good twists.
Good twists.
Muffy and Buffy.
Muffy and Buffy.
Just imagine the writer's room when they were coming up with that. All right, I got Buffy, and fuck it, Buffy. All right, send it off. Waxwork, 1988. This is another one I feel is just kind of underappreciated from the 80s. Zach Galligan is in it, who his only real big role was the lead in Gremlins, the kid, whatever his name was. I don't freaking know. It's funny. It has a decent amount of gore. Like the kills and the stuff are pretty dang good. And it's just a wax museum pops up in a city. Some people start to go missing. No one cares. And then some teens decide to go to the wax museum and get caught up in all the craziness. Definitely influenced by any older movie about wax museums. I feel like there's only so much you can do with a wax museum movie. So, but this one is cool, and it's definitely worth watching. I believe there was a sequel too that wasn't too shabby either.
Well,
oh boy, yeah, we're out of time.
Yeah, tell us what you think of our 80s recommendations. Have you seen them? Have you not? Did you hate them? Are we full of shit? You let us know.
Goodbye. Okay, bye.